Hello friends, and welcome back to Mrs. Karnes and Me. Today we're heading across the Danube to explore the beautiful Buda side of Budapest. From incredible views and historic landmarks to a few surprises along the way, we have a full day ahead of us. So come along and let's see what we can discover in Buda. We were ready to start our first full day exploring Budapest. But first, breakfast! And what a breakfast it was! Served just off the hotel's main entrance in the beautiful Cupola Lounge, the setting alone was impressive, with grand chandeliers and a gorgeous stained glass dome overhead. The buffet seemed to have a little bit of everything: Middle Eastern dishes, Hungarian specialties, breads and pastries, cereals, hot and cold selections, fresh juices, and even a honeycomb where you could scoop out your own raw honey. And if all that wasn't enough, there was also a menu of made-to-order hot dishes and specialty coffees.
This is a wellness shot called an eye-opener.
Yeah.
So,
Start our day with
egg,
so our eyes will be open.
Egazatra.
Something. Ooh. My eyes are open now. I ordered the shakshuka. He ordered the Hungarian breakfast, so we're really looking forward to it. Lagos.
Lagos and Electro.
Yeah. Which looks really good. So.
Good morning, friends. It is our first full day in Budapest. And that's how we were told by the locals last night to pronounce it, Budapest. So our hotel, the Alhaptor, is right behind me, and it is on the Pest side of the river. We're heading over today to explore the Buda side of the river. The Danube runs right through the middle of Prague, and we're going to go over...
Prague.
The Danube runs right through the middle of Budapest. And so we're going to go explore the castle, St. Matthias Church, and all that there is on the Buda side of the river. So I want to thank you for tuning in to Mrs. Karnes and Me as we explore country number 46, which is Hungary. Haven't, check that subscribe button. Take a minute and do that. Click like if we're doing a good job. We appreciate it so much. We're so glad you're tuning in to Mrs. Karnes and Me.
Our hotel was just a short walk from the Danube, so we headed down Fashion Street toward the river. This is one of Budapest's main pedestrian shopping streets, and there was plenty to catch our attention along the way. As we passed through Vörösmarty Square, we spotted something we definitely weren't expecting. Under that enormous protective cover is the monument to Hungarian poet Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This statue must be pretty important. They put it in a bubble, I guess to keep it from the elements. First time I've ever seen that. It's weird. But I guess if it needs protecting. And it turns out I was right. The protective covering shields the marble Vörösmarty monument from Budapest winter weather. It's the car of the year.
Mrs. Karnes drives the SUV version of this.
It's cute. It's electric. This one is.
You want one in red?
Yes, please. Order me one. Once we reached the Danube, Budapest really began to open up in front of us. Look how thin they are. Across the river was Buda Castle with the chain bridge just ahead. And all along the promenade were details that kept catching our attention, including the little princess, inspired by the sculptor's young daughter who loved dressing up as royalty. What's he painting? Oh, he's painting the bridge. And just ahead was one of Budapest's most recognizable landmarks, the Széchenyi Chain Bridge.
That's the chain bridge, the famous chain bridge. Big lions up there in the front of it.
We'd made it to the Danube, and now it was time to cross from Pest over to Buda. And there it was, the Széchenyi Chain Bridge, connecting Pest to Buda across the Danube. Opened in 1849, the chain bridge was the first permanent bridge to connect Buda and Pest, and guarding each end are these enormous stone lions. There's even an old legend that the sculptor forgot to give the lions tongues. He didn't. They're just very hard to see from way down here.
Pretty, isn't it?
From the middle of the bridge, the views in both directions were incredible.
Welcome to the Buda side. So it was open to traffic for a hot minute and then it just wasn't. So that's cool. Maybe we're gonna go through it. I don't know. Drive through it.
Just across from the chain bridge is the Budapest Castle Hill Funicular, which has been carrying passengers up Castle Hill since 1870. And you know us, we love a good funicular.
Very excited to get the funicular.
I always love a good funicular ride. I don't know why.
All you ever want to do is ride a funicular. How many of these have been in now?
Not that many. Still exciting.
Something like that.
It's still exciting. I don't know.
Get ready to go up to the top. It's 13 euros per ticket. The castle's up here.
One way. Museum.
St. Matthias Church. The museum.
We're supposed to eat.
We don't come across them very often, so when we do, we're riding it. Besides, after walking all the way here from the hotel, we were more than happy to let this historic little railway do the climbing for us.
Be happy that I'm saving money.
And the higher we climbed, the better the view became. The chain bridge stretching back across the Danube toward Pest, and the city opening up below us.
Woohoo! It was fun.
When we reached the top, one of the first things that surprised me were the guards. With their little sentry boxes overlooking the city, it suddenly felt very much like we had arrived at a royal castle. From here, we started making our way through the castle district toward Matthias Church. But as usual, getting from one place to another is rarely a straight line for us. First, I spotted a grocery store. I knew I wanted to bring home some Hungarian paprika, but I didn't want to buy it from a souvenir shop. I wanted the paprika people here actually buy. Is it exactly the same thing? Maybe, but somehow this felt more authentic.
So we are in a grocery store on the Buda side, taking a look in search of paprika. And here it is, all kinds of it. Wow. That's cool, isn't it? Look at that bread. Look at this one. That's a different kind of bread. All kinds of cookies. So we bought paprika at the little grocery store. Here's the store. It's right here on the corner.
And then, as if this little detour couldn't get any better, we found a penny smasher. Of course we did.
For you loyal fans, you know what we're doing. We stumbled across a smashed penny machine here. Oh, there we have it.
Yay! It's a
With
good one.
paprika and
I
a
got
pressed
my
penny
penny.
safely acquired, we finally continued toward Matthias Church.
So this is St. Matthias Church behind us. It's just stunningly beautiful. I hope the inside is half as beautiful as the outside.
Yeah. I can't get over the tile work on the tops. That's just crazy.
There are some places we visit that are beautiful in the moment, and then there are places that stay with us long after we've come home. For me, Matthias Church is one of those places. We've been fortunate enough to visit a lot of beautiful churches in our travels, but I honestly think this may be one of the prettiest we've ever seen. The amount of detail absolutely blew me away. Everywhere we looked, there was color, intricate patterns, paintings, stained glass, decorated columns and ceilings. It seemed as though there wasn't a single surface that hadn't been carefully considered. I really didn't know where to point my camera next. But as beautiful as the church is, it was the stories within that made our visit feel even more special. Matthias Church has stood here in one form or another for more than 700 years and has witnessed some extraordinary moments in Hungarian history. During the Ottoman occupation of Buda, it was even converted into a mosque. And tucked inside this enormous church is a tiny place that we especially wanted to see, the Loretta Chapel. Inside is an 18th century copy of the famous statue of Our Lady of Loretta, the Black Madonna. And here's something that I found fascinating. The original statue in Loretta was destroyed by fire in 1921, which means the copy here in Matthias Church is actually older than the statue standing in Loretto today. But there's another statue of the Virgin Mary in this tiny chapel, and it comes with an incredible story. According to legend, a statue of the Virgin Mary had been hidden behind a wall during the Ottoman occupation. There it remained for generations. Then, during the battle to retake Buda in 1686, an explosion caused the walls concealing the statue to collapse. Suddenly, the Virgin Mary appeared before the Ottoman forces. The story says that her unexplained appearance caused such alarm that they fled in panic. After the successful siege, the miraculous statue was carried through Buda in a procession celebrating the victory. We sat here in this tiny chapel, looking at these statues and thinking about their stories, and about everything that had happened in this place over hundreds of years. It was one of those moments when history suddenly didn't quite feel so far away. And then, of course, there's Sisi. In 1867, Emperor Franz Joseph and Empress Elizabeth of Austria, better known as Sisi, were crowned King and Queen of Hungary right here in Matthias Church. Franz Liszt even composed a Hungarian coronation mass for the occasion, and it was performed here for the very first time during their coronation. And if you don't know who Sisi is yet, just remember that name, because at this point in our trip, I was only just beginning to learn her full story. I had absolutely no idea how fascinated I was about to become. Let's just say Sisi will be back. As we continued exploring the church, I kept finding another detail, another painting around another corner, and I wanted to remember them all. I love this place so much that, before we left, I bought a book about Matthias Church. And of all the things I bought home from this trip, that book has become one of my favorite souvenirs. I'm actually using it right now as I put this video together because there were so many stories, so many details that I knew I would never remember them all. Every time I open it, I'm right back here. I probably could go on about Matthias Church forever, and judging by the amount of footage I took, apparently I intended to, but Budapest is waiting, and I'm going to stop talking for just a little while and let you see why I love this place so much.
I'm going to be in here for a while.
See you later.
So this is the famous Fisherman's Bastion. It's supposed to have the best view looking back from Buda to Pest. And you can see the little windows, and you can see all the people here in the off season, mind
really.
you. So we're going to wander over and see what it looks like a little closer. So here's just a little something for those of you who don't travel to Europe a lot. If you need to use the facilities, be prepared to pay €1. That is a very common thing in a lot of places in Europe, and we've encountered that both in Prague and in Budapest. So carry a little euro around in your pocket. Sometimes they will actually have card dispensers. Sometimes they'll have an attendant at the table actually just taking your money and giving you a tiny little ticket that says it's okay to pee. But just be prepared to pay to use the restroom, which I don't mind that concept, honestly. In the United States, it's just
They keep it clean. It's
free,
nice.
but it's clean and it's usually
Pretty decent.
yeah, pretty decent, and it's worth €1.
If you need to go, it's really worth €1. Might be worth more.
Like €3.
I've not heard anybody say they had to pay to come up to the Fisherman's Bastion, but you do now. €3 to come up here. It's worth €3.
I call it an Instagram charge
It
fee.
is, probably.
Just outside Matthias Church is one of Budapest's most recognizable landmarks, Fisherman's Bastion. And after spending so much time looking at all the incredible detail inside the church, stepping out here felt completely different. Suddenly, Budapest was spread out in front of us. Although Fisherman's Bastion looks like something straight out of a medieval fairy tale, it isn't actually medieval at all. It was built around the turn of the 20th century as part of the celebrations marking 1,000 years of the Hungarian state, and it was designed by Frigyes Schelek, the same architect responsible for the major restoration of Matthias Church. The 7 stone towers represent the 7 Magyar tribes that settled in the Carpathian Basin and helped establish Hungary more than 1,000 years ago. And despite the name, this was never really a fortress built for battle. The name Fisherman's Bastion is believed to come from the fishermen who lived below Castle Hill and were responsible for defending this section of the old city during the Middle Ages. Today, though, I think its greatest purpose may simply be giving one of the most beautiful views in Budapest. From up here, we can see across the Danube to the Pest side of the city, with the Hungarian Parliament building taking center stage. And after walking across the chain bridge earlier this morning, it was pretty amazing to stand up here and look back across the river at where our day had started. Of course, Mr. Karnes had his camera out. With arches, towers, and Budapest as a backdrop, I was more than happy to let him take a few pictures. Okay, maybe more than a few. But this was one of those places where you really don't need to do very much. Walk around, find an arch, climb a few steps, and then just stop and look, because the view really does speak for itself. And as beautiful as our morning on the Buda side had already been, believe it or not, our day wasn't even close to being over. There was still a castle to explore, some very Hungarian food to try, and later that evening, we would see this beautiful city from an entirely different perspective. But we'll save all that for next time. For now, we're just going to enjoy this view. Thank you so much for watching, and please join us again next week as we explore more of beautiful Budapest, Hungary. We know that we are living the good life, and we hope that you are too. Ega Shega Tekra.